Hi guys, I'm Andy and this is Wes and we're from D6 Evolution, and today we're going to be going over the psychic phase. So Wes, tell me about the psychic phase.
Psychic phase is the fickle phase. It either goes really well for me or really poorly.
Yeah.
I don't tend to run on it too much, but other people do build entire lists around it, so it's quite an important phase to get your head around.
Yeah, absolutely. I think before we go into the sort of nitty-gritty of the phase, let's talk about sort of power selection to start with. And I think the key thing if you're going to tournaments is know how your powers have to be selected. So is it a tournament where you write your powers on your army list and you can't change them, or is it sort of just see what your opponent's brought and then quickly write down your powers?
Yeah, that can be a really effective way of doing it. See what your opponent brings to the table.
Yeah, because some psychic powers are really situational, but really situationally good. But if you're doing an all-comers list, you're probably not going to take them.
Absolutely.
Just remember, guys, there are a few stratagems out there. Chaos Space Marines have definitely got one where they can switch out the powers mid-game, so you can kind of sort of list tailor a little bit that way. But most of the time, you're sort of going to be, most tournaments, you're stuck with what powers you write on your army list. Yeah. So I'd say sort of key things with the psychic phase is obviously, as Wes has sort of said already, it's a bit of a fickle phase. You may well just end up failing it. So don't base your entire stratagem around for your army for that turn around a sort of key power going off if you can. So don't rely on that one key warp time.
No, definitely have a backup. That's
yeah, absolutely.
That's key.
So yeah. The other thing to think about is try and remove as much chance as you can from the phase because it is so bloody fickle. So things like know what units in your opponent's army can deny your powers, and there's a lot more than you think can initially do it. So obviously you've got your opponent's psychers. Remember, it's a 24-inch deny, and then there's a whole bunch of other things, isn't there?
Like Sisters of Battle and
so Sisters of Battle, World Eaters, Black Templars. They've all got a 1 CP stratagem where they can deny a power on a 4-up, which is really strong.
Yeah, it's
24-inch range as well.
It's a large budget bubble of effectiveness around the table that does that, rather than just having 1 or 2 psychics. That's something to really take into consideration.
Yeah. And the other thing is when your opponent's got a strong psychic presence, make sure you're positioning your key units round the board so that you are not giving them anywhere where they can actually get out of the sort of psychic deny range.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, what's the next thing to say about psychers, really?
So, I think in consideration in terms of how you are positioning your units is probably one of the key things I take away from the psychic phase itself.
Yeah, so absolutely sort of range of powers. You don't want to accidentally be relying on that warp time and then find you're too far away from it. Mm-hmm. Other good things to think about is you just got to know the range of your powers, don't you? And if it's on your opponent's side, you've got to know the range of their powers as well to make sure you're sort of staying outside the threat ranges as well.
And knowing what their powers do as well is really important. Just take a couple of minutes pre-game to ask them about their powers.
Yeah, you don't want to find out on the turn that they cast them on you.
I used to live with my Harlequins.
It's like, no, what does that do?
Yeah, in the old edition I used to live with my Harlequins where people go, they do what?
Yeah.
It's my favourite psychic powers.
So I'd say with your powers in general though, know which order you're going to cast them in. Because there is definitely a skill to doing that.
Yeah, there's a whole sub-game there.
It's just like a little game of poker, isn't it?
Yeah,
just trying to keep a straight face.
Psychological sort of play on that one.
Yeah, so if your opponent's doing it, figure out what power that he absolutely needs to cast and then know what his sort of bonus powers or his sort of throwaway ones which he doesn't care about. So if you've only got sort of 1 or 2 denies, you've got to save it for the key powers. Equally well, if you're doing that yourself, always do your sort of key powers last, so that even if you roll reasonably low on your other powers, your opponent's probably not going to want to deny them because he's saving his key denies for that nasty death hex, which is going to take his invulnerable save away or a key warp time.
Yeah, it's useful getting a few powers through without them even trying to deny it.
Yeah, because even if you get your warp time off just on an 8, they're probably not going to bother to deny it if you've got a death hex waiting to happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The other thing is that there's some sort of situationally useful things you can do in the psychic phase as well, such as whereas if he's used his Harlequins, if he's sort of tied up my gun line, I can smite you out of combat.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, so you don't need to fall back, and then your unit can function as normal, which is really important.
Yeah, and not just Smite. There are other powers within Codex that have a very similar sort of effect to Smite, so you can bring them into play as well to really...
Because all units are targetable. It's only the shooting phase where you can't shoot into combat.
And that's the nice thing about Psychic Phase.
Psychic Phase, anything goes pretty much, doesn't
Absolutely.
it? Absolutely. Yeah. Right, guys. Well, it's a quick tip. Literally, that's all we've got to say about the Psychic Phase. But it's been a quick video, but it's really important to get it right.
And we'll see you next time.
Yeah.